Oh, hello, hello everybody. It's live, right? Yes. Hello everybody. How you guys doing today? This is Counsellor's Corner with Uche Onochie. Today, I have quite an interesting topic I want to discuss with you all. And today, I'm talking about. hmm, Today, I'm talking about how to handle. How do you handle difficult but talented, employees? So that's what we are talking about. Just give me a minute while we set up all the platforms. Yeah, all the platforms so that everyone, because we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, and also we're on Facebook. We advertised my Facebook group, so you can go to my Facebook group and just join so that you know exactly when we get these things. Yeah, so yeah, so just just a minute. Mm, okay, all right. Okay, come on, make this big for me. Come on, make this big for me. Yeah. So are we ready on Instagram? Is Instagram ready? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead right now. And like I said, I'm talking about talented employees, difficult but talented employees. What do you do when you find yourself in that kind of position as an employee? I will start with the first. I'll give us a couple of tips that can help us identify this people. Um, it all starts from their onboarding. It all starts from the interview. That is when we begin to realize who are the kind of people that you want, and that's where you observe. Being in a couple of interviews, one thing I realized is that um, don't rely so too much on um, don't rely too much on what is being said on the CV. It can be misleading, at times. So don't rely so much on what is on the CV, but ask them questions. So you have to observe, analyze them as they come into your organization. When they finally pass the interviews, then you have to watch them. Then after you have noticed them during the interview, the next thing that you need to do is to try them out in different departments. It's always good that new entrants go around all the departments, even if they're not. There are some specific departments like legal, there are some specific departments like technical. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that let them have access to all the departments, because all those departments, all the different arms, um, all the different arms of the organization work towards what? Achieving that objective. And so if you're working towards achieving all that objective, then they should have an idea going round. They should have an idea of the whole department. And you see, when they are working in those departments, that is when you can realize their talents. It's just like a parent watching his kids. When you watch your kids as they are playing, when you watch your kids as they interact with each other, you will have an idea, some idea about them. That I used to read about parents. You see parents, they have kids, and those kids have to dismantle toys. They take time out to get a screwdriver. My friend's son asked him for a screwdriver, and he was like wondering what is he going to do with a screwdriver. I said he wants to open up his toy, and it's his toy, a car vehicle that he bought him. And he was asking, why do you want to spoil it? He said he doesn't want to spoil it. He just wants to know how it is on the inside. And so he gave him his screwdriver, and he opened up the toy. And to his amazement, afterwards, the boy was able to fix it back. So that shows that he has some technical skills. And if he wakes up and decides that, look, I want to be an engineer, then you wouldn't be too much surprised at that. So the same thing applies with the employee. Let them walk around the departments. If it's a large organization, let them walk through different departments. If it's not a too much of if it's not a big organization, you can still give them tasks. Let them be assigned to managers. Let them be assigned to managers, assigned to departmental head, unit heads, and just let them just go there and find out what is happening. Because you'll be surprised. A CV says this one. CVs sometimes they say what you want to hear, but it's not really what these employees want. So you start noticing them at that onboarding time. Then on a lighter mode, I think you should be able to ask them what they want to do after they've gone around the departments. I think you should ask, what is it you want? What is your area of interest? Regardless of what we are employing you for, we should be able to know what your area of interest is. And most of the time, they will tell you. One of my brand managers and social media manager at one particular time. He read accounting. In fact, he just finished from a university. He read accounting. So I'm asking him. So where did you get all this knowledge from? He said during holidays he works at a business center. And working at a business center, he was able to learn quite a lot of things. He had data at his disposal, and he was able to learn quite a lot of things. So you can imagine if you employ that person as if you employ him as an accountant, you can see that you're going to employ somebody that is you are going to employ somebody that is his interest is not there and in accounting. His interest is in digital marketing and branding. So you have to ask them. You have to be able to ask them. Yeah. And one thing you need to also realize is that talented people, most of the time, they don't even know that they are talented. You have to discover them and so okay, let them know. You might or might not tell them they are talented, but you should be able to encourage your staff from time to time. Tell them, um, encourage them with nice words, encourage them with appreciation, with accolades where needed. So you must be able. Most talented people are not even aware of that they are talented. Okay, then now let's talk about the difficult aspect. Talented people can come out being difficult. Just like you can have a child that is very restless. I was telling a colleague of mine, I said, look, I have a son, my last son, and my last child you can't get him to sit down and read. You can't get him to sit down and read. He's always moving, always looking for the next exciting thing to do. He's always looking for a game, a computer game, something to keep him, and he's easily bored. And so these are some of the. This could be. It doesn't mean that everybody that is restless um, means that they are talented. There's also, I believe, that there is a condition that is called attention deficiency syndrome or something like that. Attention deficiency, I think it's ADD, attention deficiency syndrome. I think it is. I don't know. I can't remember the full name. So it's not everybody that is. It's not everybody that is restless, easily bored. Means that they. It doesn't mean that they are talented. But let me tell you, so people that are talented can come as being extremely um, people that are talented can also be irritating at times. They can also be annoying at times. They are easily bored, so they do things. And one thing I've noticed working with one or two talented people, they find it difficult to keep to time. They come late. They are not organized physically. You might look at them and say, what good can come out of this? But you see, in spite of, if you're patient enough to understand, if you're patient enough to understand, or patient enough to wait and see what they can do, you might just realize that there's a gift there. They don't like to keep to rules. Talented people don't like to keep to rules. They like to have a free space. They want to be free to try things out, and then sometimes this trying things out can come as a cost to it can come as a cost to the organization. So we need we need to be careful. So what I'm saying is that some of these things, obeying simple rules, can be difficult for some of the talented people that I have seen. Obeying simple rules can be difficult for them. So, but when you notice it, you try as much as possible to guide them. Rules are rules. Every organization has its own rules and regulations, and those rules and regulations we can't ignore, because any organization that doesn't have rules, there's bound to be chaos and disorder. So we don't want disorder, but you also need to be mindful of these people. When you discover that somebody is talented, I think you have to find a way. Those of you in HR, or even as the manager, even if you don't have a HR manager, you should be able to find what works for him. And some of the things I've realized with talented people, they can be difficult and very annoying, but you have to be patient and give them that room. Don't stifle their creativity. Don't give them too much room. Don't give them too much um, rules that they're not able to be creative. Talented people work with they don't work with too much of bureaucracy and too much of hierarchy, too many ladders to climb. It is easier when the reporting channels are fewer, and you should be able to give them guidelines, give them rules that can make them be creative. It's all about giving them room to explore things without it causing too much damage to the organization, or cost the organization money. A friend of mine said he had a talented person work with him, and the resumption time was 8 o'clock. And so this guy finds it very difficult to come in by 8 o'clock. He's scattered. Even when he comes in, it takes him like an hour to put his act together. So when he discovered that, so he now asked him, and he said he sleeps late. because he just has to be on the internet. He just has to learn, and it's in the night at that time that he learns. So trying to meet up the 8 o'clock or 9 p.m., 9 a.m. was quite difficult for him. So they sat down and they worked it out. And when can you come? And he said he can comfortably come into the office at 10 o'clock in the morning. So he now said, fine, if you're going to come in 8 hours before, I'm sorry, 2 hours after, then you have to stay 8 hours and 2 hours after closing time. And the guy was happy. He said the only thing he asked for was, hope there will be light and be data. Can he still use it? They say yes, we can make it available for you. Do you know that the best time for this person to work, everybody has closed, he's there. Sometimes the security guards will say that he leaves the office at 10 p.m., sometimes at midnight. He gave him the room. He recognized that he had a challenge with keeping to time, and he gave him that. And it paid off at the end of the day. And so he wasn't too much bored. Okay, so let's talk about boredom. Talented people can be irritating, annoying if they're not fully engaged, if you don't know how to engage them. You need to engage them in an exciting manner. You need to give them things in their area of focus. Don't try to give them too many things outside their area of strength, because if they are not in their area of strength, it can cause them to become easily bored. So now sit down and find out what is the job description of this person, and try to enrich it from time to time. Try to enrich it. Let everything not be about the office. So I had a friend that had this social media person, and the guy was quite talented and all that, but he easily gets bored. So what he does is that my friend now said, okay, he from time to time, 3 times in a week, let him go out with the marketing team, and he was quite excited. So because some places where they go to market, companies where they go to sell, they need to do presentations, and so he was happy to set up the PowerPoint. He was happy to talk about the technical point, for the sales. So that was also a way of enriching his job, and he actually looked forward to it. He's not a salesperson. If you send him out on sales, he will not be able to sell anything. But being in a team and being like their technical support, it really helped him, and he came back and was giving them different ways to sell better. So this is how you can enrich their job functions, um, job functions. And another way to encourage these talented people is to try out one or two of their suggestions. Don't say it's weird. I'm sure the person that said we shouldn't sit on the floor, we should sit on a chair, the people around him must have said he was crazy. What is wrong with the floor? So when they come up with those ideas that seem more realistic, or you can't even put your head around it, or you can't understand what they're saying, it doesn't cost much. As long as it's not going to cost much, rather, I think you should try out one of those things, because from experience I know that the inventions that we are enjoying today were done by people they thought they were crazy. So gifted people can be crazy. They act in a crazy manner. They act in a crazy fashion. So, but why don't you try it out? Why don't you support it? A man supported Bill Gates when he was marketing at the age of 19, 20, said he was coming and said he needed someone to buy into his company, and was talking a lot of things that he doesn't understand. But he saw the passion in him and decided to put his money into Microsoft. And Bill Gates made him a billionaire today just because he's one of the directors. So don't cancel, discountenance everything that you are being told. Try it out. You see, life is all about trial and error. It's about taking risk. Why don't you take a risk on some of these things, and it might come out paying you. So I've talked about boredom, keep them engaged, try as much as possible. But in as much as you're going to give them um, room to explore and bring out their creative nature, they also have to work in certain rules, under certain rules and regulation, because without laws, anybody can do whatever they want. So, but let those laws, those regulations be able to, you can mend it a bit to help them with their nature. Like I said, some of their nature is being bored. They need room, they need time, they need different things that are slightly different. If you feel that this person is talented out of their output performance, because everything is about performance, you if you can see that they perform, if it's possible that you see that this one is a performer, you see the evidence, then you should be able to make some slight adjustments. um, but also be careful that um, all the other employees don't want that kind of treatment, that preferential treatment. You know how to handle it. So it should be some kind of privilege that doesn't stir waters in the office. Because if other people feel that you are favoring them, they might become disgruntled, and that can lead to lower productivity. So try as much as possible, if you can identify them early, and if you can verify the authenticity of their gifts, then you should be able to find ways that can adapt them into your organization. Keep them active. Um, don't make them go bored, because then they will not be able to produce. They will be at their lowest productivity state, and after a while they will move. Um, After a while they will move. Talented people tend to move, not because they so much want to move, but because you're not engaging them well enough in a way they are interested that is interesting to them. Like I said, always put them in the area where in the area of their interest, because naturally your strength, your creative ability, it tends to grow in the area of your interest and desire. What you desire, you see that even when you're tired, you still make a move. So if you keep somebody in his own environment, his own natural habitat, you know what's going to happen? That person is going to grow. So please, don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. That's what I'm saying. If you don't understand the staff, don't chase them away. Don't sack them. They might just be the next Einstein that God has sent to you, for you to be able to, trim the rough edges. And some of us have sent people away, or some, not some of us, some employers have sent people away, not knowing that that is their God sent gift to the organization to change things, just because they don't understand. If you have a child that you don't understand, you will still find a way to relate and parent that child the same way. From speaking to someone, you know from if you have employed for a while, speaking to someone, you'll be able to discern some of the things that are happening to that person. So if you discern that there's something inside, give that person a chance. Some people are not patient enough to give these talented people a chance, but give them a chance, and you know what, they might just become that gift to you that can turn things around in your organization. So I've come to the end today, but let me just leave you with this information. This is Counselor's Corner. The origin of this Counselor's Corner is what? To help people, to counsel them. They ask questions, and when they ask these questions, what happened is that I come live every week to answer them. I come live every week to answer their questions. So this is a question that was asked, and so I'm here to answer it. And so please, this started during the lockdown in 2020. People were confused and they were just asking me questions. How do I earn in this state? How? So that is how we started doing Counselors Corner on a weekly basis. During the lockdown, we did it like 2 times a week, and so the questions kept coming, and we all at home, so I could answer those questions. Do you know that there was a lady that how important it is to have a voice of encouragement at the time. I dealt with, at sometimes rather, I dealt with the topic depression. And this lady just sent it to her friend or her cousin, I can't remember, on depression. This is the things that I said. Sent her a link from my YouTube channel, Uche Onochie on YouTube. So he sent it to her. And that day she had said when everybody is asleep, she was going to commit suicide. But she just listened to me talk about depression for 20 minutes. And that was all. And I encouraged, and I even prayed, which I normally don't do. But that day I was led to pray. So I talked about depression. I prayed, and that was it. This lady is here today. She's alive. And just because she heard something. I've had people make a lot of mistakes in business, and just because they have one notion or the other, they ask me things and I come and answer. He has helped people, he has helped families. There are a lot of cases of marriages that marriages today they are waxing stronger because they just heard me say one thing about marriages. I get thank you notes from these people, and it makes it what my while. So all you can do is just put out your questions there. Apart from being a business and a leadership coach, I'm also a life coach. So you can put out the questions there. I will come next week and I'll answer it. But just for your information, we have 5 core areas here at Marketplace Apostles, and that is business, career development, leadership, personal finance, and relationships. So these are the 5 areas we cover. If you have any questions, fine, you can ask me. And but if you want me to coach you one-on-one, we have been here at this secretariat. We are happy, we are glad, and we're thankful that we're able to raise highly successful people. And you can be around the globe, and you can be one of them. So if you want a one-on-one coaching, why not? You can reach out to us, and we will get back to you and set up a coaching plan for you. All right. So every week I am on TikTok. Yeah, I'm on TikTok. I'm also on TikTok. You can get the links below this. You can get the links sent out on this channels, on these handles. I'm also on Facebook group. Some of you, I'm speaking live to those on Facebook group. It's Uche Onochie Marketplace Network on Facebook. Then I'm on YouTube. Some of you are here. I am on Uche Onochie channel. I'm also on Instagram. Uche Onochie on Instagram. Also, Make in Nigeria on Instagram. Make in Nigeria is the largest gathering of um, exhibition and conference with the largest gathering of business people, inventors, government, everybody converge at it. We have an annual event every year. You will get to know about it. But before then, you can meet me up in these channels, and I'm sure that we can do something together. Thank you guys for listening to me today. I wait for your comments and I will reply your comments. Take care. God bless and good night.